live stream. We will make something incredible today. Custom made flip-flops. We'll use 1, 2, 3, 4 colors. Special Rasta design. If we have some Rasta lovers, get your pair before the price gets high. So basically here I will show you exactly how Zakistar flip-flops are made. You will see that we can make custom made designs. I mean, that's obvious because these are custom made flip-flops. But yeah, the main point is that when you buy Nike or some other bullshit brands, they just make the products in China or Asia, maybe Afghanistan, maybe Pakistan, and then they charge you American price for Asian products, which in my eyes it's not fair. So I'm not proud that these are handmade, because I really don't care about being handmade. I don't see the benefit. If the robot can do it better, hell yeah, even better. But the point is that for now I don't have money to make a robot that would do this better than me. So it's the best to just make it myself. But yeah, I look in production, if the robots can do it, why not? Everywhere, even if it's marketing, if AI can do it better, why humans? Because humans make a lot of problems, so it's just not worth it. But yeah, let's forget about these topics, set topics, and focus on production. Now, first, we will not get any views, because I guess YouTube give me only one good live stream per day. I don't know how is this influence, but in the morning I had a live stream that got 200 views, and now 6 hours later there is no viewers. That's why I brought my computer here so I can watch some stuff. Why not? And of course, not just that I can watch my stuff, I can also look at the production. E and I already made a mistake. Wow, now it's golden hour. Okay, yellow. I want to be yellow. Que fumate. Fuck you. Everything is dirty. Oh, hello, subscribe. It's custom made. I'm putting here pebble by pebble. So it's really unique. Very unique flip-flops, but the most important part is that they have health benefits. Can you see something? I use 4 different colors. I want to be red, I want to be yellow. Okay, green. Next color. So basically I'm putting pebbles on the glue because the idea is that we are designed to walk barefoot in a car. So it's like handmade with natural materials. In a car.
Keurig coffee maker. I will lay out my clothes and I will out loud to myself, but I'll say it out loud. I'll say, Chase is going to love this shit. So that level of discipline is what's super important, is that I'm doing tiny things for myself, tiny in the beginning. The reason you need to start small is because we work in dopamine and we work in serotonin. So with every tiny success, our concern will start to broaden out a little further into the future. So instead of just tomorrow, and now it'll be 2 days from now. So then it's like, with some adults, it might be, well, I don't need to brush my teeth every single day. But now we're thinking, 2 weeks into the future, the moment our concern is out there, then we're starting to think about our hygiene, our financial hygiene, our health. If my concern is a week out, I don't care about getting fat because I can eat cheesecake for a solid week and not gain weight for a few more days, right? So once I start developing this a little further in the future, it's going to affect how I spend money, how I talk to people, how I eat. So whatever you can do, even if you're leaving yourself notes, which you've seen me do before, I've slipped $100. It's summertime, like a spring, summer comes around. I'll slip a $100 bill into a winter jacket as a gift to myself, and I'll draw a heart on it. And I know I'm not going to find it until the winter comes around. Pull that jacket out, I'm like, thanks, brother. I'll fist bump myself. That feels better than doing it to anybody else, I promise. Because you did that for you. Nobody else. You took care of you. And you are the one that's taking care of future you. So the moment that I do that, like I see that $100 bill with a heart on it, I'm like, I'm not thinking I'm awesome. I'm thinking he is awesome. The next is leadership. And when we talk about leadership, the only true definition of leadership is the ability to generate followership from your behavior by itself, without a title, without a uniform, and without some secret script. Just your behavior alone. And the true measure of this is, are you living as a role model for the people that you would want to influence when no one's looking? Am I being a role model type of person when my customers, clients, patients, whoever aren't looking? Am I doing exactly what I'm saying and more? Our brain evolved in hierarchical structures. We have one for nonverbal communication, for emotion. We have our limbic system, we have our spinal cord, our cerebellum. There's no dedicated part to language, which is why it's the least effective. We have two parts of our brain that really process language. We have something called the Broca's area, something called the Wernicke's area, where we process and comprehend language. It's not that important. So when we're speaking with someone, if we aren't living the same life off camera, we're sending a signal. Even if that signal is something as simple as, something's not right about this person. I don't really trust this person. So we're sending it all the time. Next is gratitude. I will say that gratitude is proven to change neurotransmitter levels in your body. It can lower norepinephrine, it can lower adrenaline, and it can raise a critical neurotransmitter called GABA, which makes us feel safe, secure, and helps us to feel confident. How many actual hypnotists do we have in the room? Actual hypnotists. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 hypnotists in here. I would be willing to bet the people with the most insecurities and lowest level of confidence are the hardest to hypnotize. And I would bet that these people would agree with this. Confidence and safety is key in hypnosis. The chemical GABA is key in hypnosis. So gratitude is really important. It rewires neurotransmitters. And E is for enjoyment. And the reason that it's on here, in my experience, this is the most magnetic human quality. We're around a person that's actually enjoying themselves. It's magnetic. Now, without a word being said, we're back at the Delta Airport, and I ask you to spot one of each of these people. You could do it without talking, without walking up to them and having them take a survey. A lot of this stuff is sensed and experienced through our animal brain. So what do you think, in your own estimation, would be your lowest? You don't have to answer. But out of confidence, discipline, leadership, gratitude, and enjoyment, where am I lowest? And if I use this as an autopsy tool, and I said, why did I lose that sale? Why did that girl not go out with me on a date? Why couldn't I convince that person on Tinder to come out with me? Why couldn't I get that job for that company? Why didn't I negotiate that contract? This can be an autopsy tool, and one of the most powerful. characteristic that I could give that would make somebody an excellent salesman, it would not be the ability to script. It wouldn't be influence techniques. It wouldn't be persuasion techniques. It would be confidence. If I'm training someone to go recruit foreign assets to spy on their own country for America, I need confidence, number one. There is nothing else. Would you all consider me a confident person? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. I can probably out-confidence anybody. I never feel a need to, but I can do anything. But I have the same, if not more, limiting beliefs as everybody here. When Eli's introducing me 10 minutes ago, there's something in my head that said, everybody's going to laugh at you. They're going to know you're faking it. You're full of shit. I don't care if you've done this for 30,000 hours. I don't care if you wrote the #1 best-selling book. They're going to know you're faking it. That's still in my head. As I'm standing here, it's in my head. It does not go away. So the beliefs we had as kids, the beliefs about ourselves and what we're capable of and what we should do, everyone in this room carried into adulthood without our consent and without our awareness. What if I had an alcoholic dad or an asshole parent? Don't make too much noise. Always ask if someone needs help. That's the only way mom's going to like me. So the moment that those limiting beliefs start coming up, I want you to get into a habit of identifying those over and over again and keeping them in a folder. And here's the second part. I want you to keep a running list of the limiting beliefs, and whatever is your most embarrassing or most powerful limiting belief, and have it really big right on your desktop, right on your phone wallpaper. I will never be good enough.
Hello, making Zaki Star custom made flip flops with natural pebbles on top. So basically, when you walk, it's like you walk barefoot. Okay, you can subscribe if you like the idea. Where is it? Here.
That brainwashing is absolutely real. There's a 4-step process, and it spells out the word fear. It's focus, emotion, agitation, and repetition. So if we start with focus, this is me routinely breaking what you are predicting to be what's going to happen next, over and over and over, in a massive amount. 1 or 2 times, this is what triggers a mammal brain, our mammal brain, and a dog. You're walking down a pathway in the woods, and a stick breaks behind a tree.
Logically manipulated era in human history.
Yes, hands down. But I mean, you go to ancient Rome, some shit would happen, and they would say, "Hey, do the lion fighting thing with the guy. Let's distract everybody." So I don't think it's new. I think it's a lot more pervasive, though.
Is that because of it being facilitated through technology, or is that because of a requirement for control? What's the motivation for that?
I think just the digital media. If you think about what is the number one fear of human beings, like every psychology class talks about it, it's the public speaking. But it's never public speaking. It's I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be ostracized because in our brain that's 200,000 years old, getting kicked out of a tribe means I'm dead. I'm not going to have sex. I won't have babies, and I'm going to die. It's a mortal fear of dying. But if you go back to the 1980s, if I did something stupid in high school or even as an adult, I have to worry about 30 or 40 people judging me and maybe, really kind of kicking me out of a social group. And now with social media, you've got to worry about 5 or 10 million. So the consequences of doing something wrong are unbelievably exponentially increased, which has made us a whole different society, which we could get into. And this is the origin of this pandemic of loneliness that we're in right now. You ever study French philosopher, this guy named Sartre?
I've read a little bit of his stuff, but just single quotes.
He had this play, it was called Sartre's Hell, where 3 people are locked in a room, basically like this, and it's a play. But the room's not totally locked. Every couple hours the door opens and you can leave if you want to, and nobody leaves. And they're all desperate to be seen a certain way by someone else. This one guy, I'm paraphrasing, but he wants to be seen as a good person. So he asked this woman, "Please tell me I'm a good person, please." And she says, "Yeah, you're a good person." But he knows she doesn't mean it. So he stays. The door opens, nobody leaves, and they stay because they're waiting for this confirmation from other people who they are. And in this world today, with how performative and artificial everybody has become, so I've got to show my best, I've got to hide shame, I've got to conceal all this guilt and the stuff that people carry around. The reason that somebody can feel lonely in a room full of people, and I'm not just talking about on Facebook, I'm saying like in a real room full of people, is because no matter how many times your friends come over and pat you on the back and say, "Oh, Chris, you did a great job, we love you, you're a great guy." Your spouse might say, "Oh, we love you, and you're a great person." In the back of your mind, you know you're faking it, and you know that none of them really like the real you. And you get, at the end of the day, I'm not saying this is you, but at the end of the day, you're lonely in a room of 150, 200 people because you know that none of them know you, and you haven't ever really been seen by anybody. So increased fear of judgment because of social media equals increased performance, equals I'm wearing a costume almost all the time, and nobody has ever seen me, nobody really knows me. So even if they claim to like me, in the back of my brain, there's this little reminder mechanism that says, they don't like the real me. And nobody ever has. Nobody's ever seen me. So this is my opinion, but I think that's the root of the pandemic that we're in right now, of loneliness. Like, we're more connected than ever and more performative than ever at the same time. So we can't really connect. And our brains are wired for 120, 130 person tribe. And we start getting over that, and we have that. Brainwashing is absolutely real. There's a 4-step process, and it spells out the word fear. It's focus, emotion, agitation, and repetition. So if we start with focus,
you want to be successful? Here's a mantra for investing. And the most fundamental question is, how do I have the upside without having the downside? That approach was the basis of Bridgewater going from having to borrow $4,000 from my dad to the largest hedge fund, most successful hedge fund in the world. I created personality tests. I gave it to Elon Musk, I gave it to Bill Gates, I gave it to Reed Hastings. Maybe I should probably not tell stories, but I don't know. That's what we do here.
You don't have to make it to the top to be happy.
Well, what's the time? There's no correlation between the level of happiness in your life and the amount of money that you make. So you have to have a purpose. What do you want to do with the money that is so important? You better answer that question.
You're, in some regard, a little bit of a late bloomer in terms of like traditional metrics of success.
Oh, yeah.
I think you were 34, 35. You had like 2 kids, I think. You had just laid off the 5 employees that you had, and you're like, look, Dad, I've lost it all. Can you like close your eyes and like remember that conversation?
So I started Bridgewater in 1975, and in 1981 and 82, interest rates went up. The emerging countries had a lot of debt, and I calculated that those countries were not going to be able to pay their debts, and they were going to have big debt crisis. And that was a very controversial point of view. And then Mexico defaulted in August of 1982. So I was asked to testify to Congress about what this is all about and what might happen to the economy. I thought the economy was going to be a disaster. I couldn't have been more wrong. Okay. So I lost money for me. I lost money for my clients. And I had to lay off everybody. I was so broke, I had to borrow $4,000 from my dad. So then my choice was, am I going to, put on a suit and tie, go in, commute, and work for somebody in that capacity? And I knew that I wasn't very good at working for people. Now, that was painful. That changed everything in my life. That created the bottom at Bridgewater, and then it just kept going up because of what I learned. I learned 2 things. First of all, I learned humility to balance my audacity. Okay, I didn't have much humility. I'd say, I'm right, I'm going to be right, and all that. And then I learned how to diversify my bets and substantially reduce my risk without reducing my returns, because I didn't want to reduce the upside. I knew that I had to reduce the downside. And so I really learned and taught myself, really, my mantra. Okay, here's the mantra for investing. You want to be successful? This is the holy grail of investing. Find 15 good uncorrelated return streams.
How did you come up with 15?
Well, I just looked at the math of it. Okay, so in other words, what are the marginal benefits of diversification given the different levels of correlation? And I have that on a chart that keeps reminding me, okay, if you can get up to 15, you can get down to reduce about 80% of your risk without reducing your return. That means that you increase your return to risk ratio by something like a factor of 5, okay? In other words, wow. So that means you can get the upside without having the downside, okay? And then humility, I wanted people to kick the shit out of whatever I thought, to try to do that and then have that. And that change in that approach was the basis of Bridgewater going from, having to borrow $4,000 from my dad to the largest hedge fund, most successful hedge fund in the world.
If we wanted to be better investors, what do you think the most common mistake smart guys can make when it comes to investing?
They don't have a game plan.
So what does a good game plan look like? How do you know if you have a good game plan?
Well, the way that I did it was every time I would make a decision, but this is the building of all principles I did, but particularly in the markets. Every time I would make a decision, I would go back and study, if I made that decision under these circumstances, how would it have worked in the past? And I would know the track record of that decision. And that would give me also greater understanding of how things work. And so then I would have a decision rule, and then I would program it into the market, into the computer. And when this thing come along, then I started to realize, okay, now I've got criteria. So rather than just the one that I would see, I would say in the computer, dump in all of them, and where do they exist anywhere in the world? And so give me one good decision rule that wherever it happens in the world, that I have a track record of knowing how those work, and wherever it is in the world, you bring me that. And then make a collection of those kinds of things and make them uncorrelated so it provides your diversification. And so now you're executing a game plan. So like I have rules that it should be timeless and universal. Because if it didn't work in a long period of time, I would need to understand why it didn't work then and would work now. So that's how I would build, that's how I did build game plans and execute the game plans.
Did Bridgewater have any revenue coming in?
Nothing.
And so you're waking up in the morning, you're like, I gotta figure this out.
It was like I'm on the edge of a jungle. I could go stay out of the jungle and I can go to safety and have a safe life, employed, regular job, great, okay. Or I could go into the jungle and try to work across, get through the jungle, have all the things that can kill me. And I made a choice of what I wanted in life. I mean, like I have to have this great upside. I can't not do that. And also part of it was, if I'm going in the jungle, I want to go with people who want to go in the jungle with me, who see things differently than I do. So it's like going through this jungle with these animals or something that can kill you. But if you're in it together, then you can sort of see the animals that'll kill you. And then I loved being in the jungle so much I didn't want to get out of the jungle, even after I've achieved.
You didn't want to go to the
success.
You'd rather be in the jungle than the zoo.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
To play off that analogy, I think a lot of successful people, and I think you even said this, like, as long as I could like do what I want during the day and what I love, then I'll be happy. But I have to imagine that when you're like 33 or 34 or something like that, and you have young kids, and you are like, you got a little bit of a tiger in you, you're like, I want to provide, I want to win, I want to be the best.
No, it wasn't like that at all. To me, it was like two levels, just very simple. Can I pay for the basics? Like, I don't need a big house, I don't need a big anything. My kids can go to a good public school. They have great
But
public
did you have like a
school.
number where you're like, man, if I could make $100 grand a year?
I counted, what I started to do was, I started to count how many months, then, and then years of living that way could I afford if it shut down.
But you said two levels. That was level one.
It's freedom money, basically Q money.
What was that number for you?
I don't remember what the number was, but it wasn't much. It was an easy to achieve number.
Like $1 million?
But oh no,
Less.
oh much less at that time.
Was there ever a grand vision, or was it always like, well, what's the next level? Let's see if we can do that.
No. It was. I could imagine great things. I'll tell you a personality test. When I decided that I wanted to pass leadership of Bridgewater along to others, I want to be investor, let them run the business, and I want to do that because I'm hooked on the markets. I created personality tests. I started with Myers-Briggs, and then I went to various kinds of personality tests. And I then gave the personality tests to people like Elon Musk. I gave it to Bill Gates. I gave it to Reed Hastings. I gave it to Muhammad Yunus. I gave it to other people to see the elements of what they are like. I put it online for free. I created it.
We took it like
Okay, you took it. Okay. Well, there's a type of person that represents a very small percentage of the population. And Elon Musk is it, then Bill Gates and Reed. A number of these people that I would call a shaper. And they are people who love to go from visualization to actualization and to be on that mission and so on. And that's my personality type. I have a certain personality type. Then they have to do certain things. And I remember Elon, and he's that personality type. Okay, making money is not a big deal for him. Should probably not tell stories, but
No. That's what we do here. We tell stories. We get all figured out later.
the excitement, the compulsive thrill of climbing that and aspiring to that was my personality type. And he doesn't need a house, he doesn't need security, he doesn't need anything. I mean, he didn't even need my level of needing.
It sounded like you had a story of him where that's an example of.
Well, yeah.
Hey everyone, pausing really quick because I know that you were probably scrambling to write down all the stuff that Ray's talking about. Well, the good news is that we did it for you. So we made a guide. The link is in the description on YouTube. And this guide breaks down the 5 frameworks behind one of the greatest investing track records of all time, so you can actually use them and also spend time listening versus taking all the notes that you're probably taking right now. So you can get it for free right now. You can click the link below in the description, or you can scan the QR code right here. All right, back to the episode.
When he first started Tesla, he had made something like $180 million from PayPal. And he decided that he was going to take half of that money and he was going to go to the Mars. And he had no experience in terms of going to Mars. And so he had this vision. And, when I said to him, I suggest that you put aside a little bit of money, take a piece of that, and just so that way, things don't work out, you've got that no need to do that. And he had that strong compulsive need, but there is, I think everybody has a certain nature. Okay, whether you're born in your environment, you have a nature. And that's why I created these personality tests. For any of your listeners, Principles U is what it is. It's free. It's online. Take it. You'll understand more about your nature. And there's a feature in there where you can have somebody else that you have a relationship with take it, and then they'll tell you about the relationship.
So we took it last night, based on your, after we talked the other day. So Sam tells me, he's like, I'm a shaper. And you had told me you're a shaper, Elon. And so I was like, wow, okay, I hope I get shaper. I think I want to be in that club. So I'm taking it, I'm answering as honestly as I can.
Is degenerate an option? Did you get degenerate?
Happy but sort of foolish.
Yeah.
New type.
You have moron? Is that what?
So I got Explorer. And I was like, that was not what I expected at all.
Did it characterize you?
Yeah, I mean, it very much called, like, driven very much by curiosity, seeking new knowledge, new experiences, learning, being very, like, objective and truthful about what I'm experiencing, and almost taking pleasure even when you have a bad result, because it means you got to learn. And so it was just so true for me. I get the most fun doing that, so I guess it really was true. I think why I may not have been a shaper, a lot of the questions would ask about part of the visualization to acquisition, and I think I do a lot of that, but I'm not very detail oriented. I don't care about the details. I overlook details. I'm not a perfectionist. I don't care. Like, I'm much less than Sam. Sam really wants everything to be great.
Okay, now one of the elements of a shaper is, and by the way, that's where you're seeing your nature. You know what your satisfaction is,
Right.
And what you're likely.
It is a fact that people are in crippling amounts of debt and want a way out. Unfortunately, that attracts con men and scammers. Now, I'm not here to tell you that all debt settlement is a scam, because at its most basic, debt settlement is simply a process for a debtor who owes money and the creditor, the person they owe money to, agree to settle a debt for a lower total amount. That is objectively not a scam, and it is sometimes the best move for both parties, usually because the debt is in default. The creditor is probably going to not get paid otherwise, and the debtor can't pay. So that, to be clear, is not what this video is about. Today we're talking about the debt settlement industry, which sells people on the idea of not paying their bills as a shortcut to getting out of debt and takes a fat fee for it. And we're going to talk about how this industry often doesn't disclose the risks, and even worse, tricks people to get them in the program in the first place, which I heard about from someone who sold debt settlement for a living.
Debt settlement is typically for people going through some type of hardship, whether that's divorce, a medical issue, you lost your job, something catastrophic has happened in your life to the point where you cannot afford to pay on your credit cards anymore. But that's not what we pitch to. I would say from my experience, 70+% of my clients were not in that situation. They were looking for a consolidation loan, a home repair loan, some type of loan, not debt settlement.
Why were people calling you for a loan, though?
Because that's what we advertise. The advertising goes through these third-party affiliates that post whatever they want. They just have to get someone on the phone, and we're responsible for closing that person.
So you guys advertise loans, but what you actually sell is stop paying your credit card so we can make a cut of your debt.
Correct.
That sounds like a bait and switch.
That sounded like a bait and switch to me. Now you see my ethical dilemma.
That was Miller, by the way. He was a sales rep who came to me because he believed the companies he was working for were doing things that were unethical. He wasn't the only one. Two other sales reps who wanted to stay anonymous told me the exact same thing.
Because they're using the bait and switch mechanic of pitching clients the entire thing, and you as the client are going to think that I'm going to get a loan, but then the salesperson is going to go ahead and twist words, basically telling you, oh, you don't qualify for a loan, well, here's the repayment plan, it's good. And sometimes people would get confused because the sales agent would rush them into signing the contract thinking that he's going to get a loan, but he's not getting a loan, he's signing up for that settlement.
Most of the people that get called also apply for loans, or they think they're applying for loans, and then when they get more transferred to the sales division, when the lead is made, they are baited and switched onto a debt relief program.
This is truly the worst part of this industry, and a secret most people don't know about, that oftentimes you are tricked into getting on a call thinking you're applying for a loan, but actually they're trying to sell you on debt settlement. In fact, I actually got a copy of a script at one point from one of these companies, and they have what's called a loan killer method, which is used when a client is frustrated and asks, I only want a loan or won't give up on the idea of a loan. The script tells them to say, it's going to be very difficult to get a good interest loan. My partner's broker ran your name through and came back and declined all. And then said, let me tell you why I qualify you for this debt resolution option. Again, confirming what we saw, that it's literally scripted to resell people from loans onto debt settlement, which they didn't know they wanted in the first place.
The whole thing starts out with a lie many times. A lot of folks I've seen reach out to a debt consolidation company, or what they think is a debt consolidation company, where they're going to get a loan to pay.
That's it for today. Another hour.